At my brother's wedding, the happiest day of his life, the day our family was supposed to come together and celebrate love, my own mother looked me in the eyes, pressed a cheap paper badge into my hand, and smiled like she was doing me a favor. On that badge, in bold black letters, it said limited access. Guest. I remember my stomach dropping. So hard it felt like the floor disappeared under me. People were laughing around us, champagne glasses clinking, music playing softly in the background, and there I was, holding a badge like I was some kind of liability instead of the bride's sister and the groom's only sibling. I want you to tell me honestly, right now, before you hear the rest of this story, was I wrong for what I did next? Or would you have done the same thing in my place? I didn't always have a bad relationship with my family, at least not on the surface. Growing up, it was just me, my younger brother Adam, and our parents. My dad was the quiet type, always working, always tired, but generally fair. My mom, on the other hand, had a way of loving you that felt conditional, like you were always one mistake away from being downgraded in her eyes. Adam was the golden child. He was charming, athletic, good-looking, and everything he did seemed to come naturally to him. Teachers loved him. Relatives bragged about him. My mom practically built her personality around being Adam's mom. Was the older sister, the responsible one, the one who was expected to understand, to compromise, to give in, because you're more mature. I learned early that if Adam wanted something I had, I was supposed to give it up. If there was only enough money for one extracurricular, he got it. If we fought, I was told to apologize, even when I hadn't started it. My mom's favorite phrase was, just let it go, for the sake of peace. Peace, in our house, usually meant Adam being happy and me being quiet. I didn't hate my brother for it, not really. He was just a kid playing the role he'd been assigned. But I did notice how differently we were treated, and that awareness never fully went away. As adults, the pattern didn't change much. Adam went off to college, met his now wife Lily, and quickly became the center of my mom's universe all over again. Lily was perfect in my mom's eyes. She came from a good family, had the right kind of job, dressed the way my mom approved of, and laughed at all her jokes. My mom started calling Lily the daughter she never had, which stung more than I wanted to admit, because I was standing right there. I was happy for Adam, truly, but every family dinner started to feel like a performance where I was the background character. When Adam proposed to Lily, my mom went into full wedding mode. She insisted on being involved in every detail. She talked about the wedding like it was her own second chance at a perfect life. I offered to help, thinking maybe this was an opportunity to finally feel included, to bond with my mom over something big and joyful. Instead, I was politely sidelined. We've got it handled, my mom would say. Or Lily's already taking care of that. I wasn't even asked to be part of the bridal party. Lily apologized, saying they wanted to keep it small, but I later found out my mom had suggested the list, and my exclusion was very intentional. The first real warning sign came a month before the wedding, when my mom called me and asked if I'd be willing to not cause any drama on the big day. I laughed at first, thinking she was joking, but she wasn't. She went on about how weddings were stressful, how emotions ran high, and how she just wanted everything to be perfect for Adam. I asked her what she meant by drama, and she hesitated before saying, just don't make it about you. That sentence stuck with me. I didn't even know what she was accusing me of, but somehow I was already guilty. On the day of the wedding, I arrived early, dressed carefully, wanting to look nice but not outshine anyone. I brought a gift, a heartfelt card, and genuine excitement for my brother. As soon as I walked into the venue, I felt something was off. There were ushers handing out badges. At first, I thought it was a cute idea for seating or something logistical. When I reached the table, my mom was there, clipboard in hand, directing people like a general. She smiled tightly when she saw me and said, "Oh, good, you're here." Then she handed me the badge. I looked down at it, confused. "Limited access guest?" I asked, half laughing, assuming it was a mistake. My mom didn't laugh back. She leaned in and lowered her voice like she was sharing a secret. She said, "It's just to make sure everyone knows where they're supposed to be. You'll still enjoy the wedding. Don't worry." I asked her what exactly I was limited from, and she said, "Well, certain areas are for immediate. Family and the wedding party only." I stared at her. "I am immediate family," I said. She avoided my eyes and said, "This is just how we're doing it." That's when it hit me. The badge wasn't for organization. It was for control. I later learned that everyone else in the family had a different badge. Some said family, some said VIP, some said wedding, party. Mine was the only one that said limited access. It meant I couldn't go into the getting ready rooms. It meant I wasn't supposed to be near the head table. It meant I was being publicly labeled as less than at my own brother's wedding. I tried to keep it together. I didn't want to ruin Adam's day. I found my seat, which was in the back, far from the rest of my family. People glanced at my badge and then at me, curiosity flickering in their eyes. I could feel the humiliation burning my cheeks. Part of me wanted to rip the badge off and leave. Another part of me wanted to confront my mom right then and there. Instead, I sat, replaying years of small slights and quiet sacrifices in my head, all leading up to this moment. As the ceremony started, I watched Adam standing at the altar, smiling like he'd won the lottery of life. Lily looked beautiful. For a moment, I forgot about the badge and just felt proud of my brother. But then I noticed my mom, sitting in the front row, beaming, occasionally glancing back to make sure everything was going according to her plan. When our eyes met, she gave me a look that said, "Behave." During the reception, things got worse. There were areas blocked off with signs and security actually checked badges. I was stopped twice and redirected like I was trespassing. At one point, I overheard my mom telling a distant relative that she had taken precautions to keep the focus where it belonged. That's when I realized she truly believed I was a problem to be managed, not a daughter to be respected. About halfway through the reception, Adam finally noticed. He came over confused, asking why I was sitting alone. I showed him the badge. His face fell. He said he had no idea. He told me he'd talk to Mom. He walked away, and I watched him confront her. I couldn't hear what they said, but I saw her expression harden, saw her shake her head, saw Adam throw his hands up in frustration. He came back and apologized, saying it was too late to change anything without causing a scene. He asked me to just hang in there for him. So that was the situation I was in, sitting at my brother's wedding, wearing a badge that literally labeled me as limited, being asked once again to swallow my feelings for the sake of everyone else's comfort. Before I tell you what I did next, I want you to pause and think about it. If you were me, would you stay quiet and endure the humiliation to keep the peace? Or would you finally stand up for yourself? Even if it meant ruining the perfect picture my mom had worked so hard to create. I sat there for a long time, watching people dance, laugh, and celebrate. I watched my mom bask in the attention, acting like the architect of the whole event. And something inside me finally snapped, not in an explosive way, but in a calm, clear realization. I understood in that moment that if I didn't draw a line now, I never would. This wasn't just about a badge. It was about a lifetime of being told I was second, optional, expendable. I stood up, walked over to the gift table, and placed my card and gift neatly among the others. Then I walked up to the microphone stand, which was momentarily unattended between speeches. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, but my voice when I spoke was steady. I started by congratulating Adam and Lily, sincerely, warmly. I told a short, sweet story about growing up with my brother, about how proud I was of him. People smiled, relaxed. My mom's posture softened. She thought this was safe. Then I held up my badge. I said, "I was given this when I arrived today. It says, limited access guest." At first, I thought it was a joke. The room went quiet. You could feel the confusion ripple through the crowd. I continued, "But it's not a joke. It's a reminder that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who limit you, who shrink you, who decide you don't fully belong." My mom's face went pale. I didn't name her. I didn't need to. Everyone knew. I said, "I want Adam and Lily to know that I love them, and I wish them nothing but happiness. But I also want to say this. I'm done accepting less than I deserve." Then I placed the badge on the table, thanked everyone for listening, and walked out. I didn't wait for applause. I didn't wait for reactions. I walked out into the cool evening air, shaking, terrified, but also lighter than I'd ever felt. My phone buzzed nonstop. Texts from relatives, from Adam, from my dad. I didn't answer right away. I sat in my car and cried, not because I regretted what I'd done, but because I finally felt seen, even if it was in a painful way. The aftermath was messy. My mom was furious. She accused me of hijacking the wedding, of embarrassing her, of being selfish. Some relatives agreed with her. Others quietly told me they admired my courage. Adam came to see me a few days later. He apologized again, more sincerely this time. He admitted he'd let our mom control too much, and he promised to set better boundaries going forward. Our relationship changed after that, for the better, but it was never quite the same. As for my mom, our relationship is distant now. She still doesn't fully take responsibility. She frames it as a misunderstanding, a necessary precaution, anything but what it really was. But I no longer bend myself to fit her version of peace. I learned that day that protecting your dignity isn't drama, and standing up for yourself doesn't make you the villain, no matter how badly someone wants to paint you that way. Looking back, I know some people will say I should have waited, that I should have addressed it privately, that a wedding wasn't the place. Maybe they're right. But I also know that if I hadn't done it then, in that moment, I would have gone home with that badge burned into my memory, another silent wound added to the pile. Instead, I chose myself. So that's my story. That's how I went from being the limited access guest to someone who finally claimed full access to her own worth. If you were on my side, like this video. If you think I was wrong, tell me why in the comments. Subscribe for more stories like this. Because believe me, family drama never really ends. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess down below. And I'll see you all in the next story.